Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. How are you? Let me introduce myself. My name is VALISNERIA UTAMI. I'm a lecturer in Tadris Bahasa Inggris or English Language Education at State University of Islamic Studies, UIN Fatmawati Soekarno Bengkulu. On today's occasions, I would like to present to you about my research entitled I Only Read a Page or Two, Narrative from Two Different Language Learners. So this research was conducted based on several reasons. So what inspired me is because of these three things, as you can see on the screen. First of all, literacy can simply define as the ability to cultivate information, but unfortunately, for second language learners, they are still struggling in improving their literacy skills. And this challenge, of course, leads to the frustrations in learning the language. And as we probably know, there have been numerous studies focusing on this topic. And besides, it's also based on my personal experience when studying overseas. So when I pursue my master's degree in Australia, despite my high band of IELTS 7.0, I still encounter difficulties in reading journal articles or in constructing the essay, the assignment given by the lecturers. So how did I conduct this study? So the method that I use is qualitative research design. So I interviewed two people with different first language, James and Karina. So James is Australian and Karina is Indonesian, and they both pseudonym. James graduated from one of public university in Australia, and Karina is a student in one of public university in Bengkulu City. So I interviewed them and I asked them about their literacy learning experiences, particularly how they learn English as the first and the second language. And then the result, I compare the result to carry out some similarities and differences. So from the research, as you can see on the screen, there are some similarities in learning English as L1 and L2. Specifically in reading, they both required cognitive skills, and they also required skills and strategies, learning skills and strategy. Whilst the differences took place in the practice of extensive reading. So according to James, what makes him really perform well in his literacy skills is because of the extensive reading habits. Whilst in Karina, these experiences, this extensive reading habits is not much highlighted, which means during reading, if she found any difficult vocabularies or if there's any idioms that challenge her, she just quickly become boring and exhausted. And she admits that she only read a page or two during her studies. Sorry. And the second one, the differences is motivation. So different motivation surely leads to different learning outcomes. For James, who fluent in English, he didn't feel any urgency to learn other foreign languages. But for Karina, because English is part of the mandatory subject, because English also part of the national exam, there is an urgency or there is something that she has to do it because of the extrinsic motivation, like I said before. And the last one is the different use of technology to support literacy learning. So Karina, because she was born and raised in one of the rural areas in Indonesia, she didn't experience much exposure in technology to support her literacy learning. So what does it mean for English language learner? So for English language teacher, I'm sorry. So I draw 4 points that you can see here. The first of all, I think before teaching, it's it's good to have like this compare and contrast, L1 and L2. And then the second one is to develop good habits in language learning and also motivates the students so they can perform well. And language is an integral part of the culture. So that's mean that if you want to teach language, despite teaching it in isolation, I think incorporated in the culture, under introducing the culture of the language itself, it's also can improve the students' literacy skills. So I think that's all about my presentation. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in other occasion. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.